Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Scaling Brokerage Podcast. Today, Dino has been kind enough to bless us with some of his time, sharing his experiences in real estate. Being a brokerage owner. So I'll kick it right off to Dino. Let you get going.
Hey, everybody. It's Dino Katsiametis, CEO of Ethos Lending, and been in the business for 26 years. Been a big producer as a loan officer, as originator for years. And about 3 years ago, I decided kind of done producing. Started golfing a lot and taking some time off, and then that got kind of boring 2 years into it. And about a year ago, I kicked it off again with a big, huge push. But instead of originating, trying to grow the company, coming up with some pretty big, innovative things for the mortgage industry that we're actually in the middle of launching right now. So pretty excited to share all that.
Oh, nice. And so you're on the mortgage side. Do you do anything in real estate at all?
Never did.
Okay.
Only houses I bought and sold were used my license for were for my own.
Okay, no worries. Oh, and so kind of just to give you an idea, the audience that we send the podcast out to, it is on YouTube, so obviously anyone can see it there. But mainly where most people view it is through the Facebook group. And they are all pretty much brokerage owners on the real estate end or agents on the real estate end.
Okay.
So if it makes sense, you want to get the message out to that audience, we can definitely still, continue and finish or, go through the podcast here. But I just wanted to be transparent. I don't know if the guys got that message over to you on the call.
Didn't, but I will tailor it a little bit more for that. I can easily tailor it.
Okay, nice. I just wanted to give you the heads up there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
But yeah, if you if you have anything else too, kind of how did you get started in the in the mortgage side?
Yeah. So do you want me to go back and redo that then a little bit?
Oh yeah, and they can edit it out. Yeah. So if you want to restart, we can take it from the top here.
Okay, sounds good. Hey guys, my name is Dino Katsiametis, broker owner of Ethos Lending and Ethos Real Estate. TBD, we just are launching that, so we're pretty excited about it. And been in the business for 26 years. Been a big producer on the mortgage side my entire career. I've done some real estate, but been focusing on the real estate side. But about 3 years ago, I kind of semi-retired, decided I wasn't gonna do this much anymore, and started golfing as often as I could and enjoying life. And 2 years into that, I decided I got to get back to work after my wife told me I can't hang out at the house anymore.
Yeah. Sent you back to the field.
Sent me back in. She's like, you really belong back in the office, and told me I shouldn't be trying to tell her how to be more efficient at home. I need to go to the office and tell people how to be efficient.
Yeah, they don't always love that, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of fun because I came back with the whole new mission, and what we've done is, we believe that the traditional brokerage model, both in the real estate side and the mortgage side, are broken. And there is a new way of doing things, and whoever's not adapting to that new way now and figuring their way out into which path that goes into, they're not going to be around for much longer after that. The days where you can kind of do it part-time and do just fine, I think, are gone. And I believe that technology first and foremost is a thing, and I do believe that real estate and mortgage is and always will be a people business. It's face to face. It's never going to change, but there is something that is changing, and we're going to lose a certain amount of people that don't ever want to talk to somebody. That's fine, but there's still plenty. And in my opinion, we don't have to compete with some of these big boys. So from the mortgage side, I'll tell you my perspective. It's like, the Loan Depots and the Rocket Mortgages and some of these really big boys, right? It's like they have too much money. They have too many people. They have too much technology. Like, I'll never be able to compete with them. Even if I spend $1 million on my technology and think I'm unbelievable for doing that, they spent $100 million.
Yeah.
So there's no comparison, right? But I'll tell you the one thing. They have to do this many loans in the entire nation just to break even. All of us, person to person, whether you're a real estate agent or a mortgage broker, you have to do this many just in your own county to be a millionaire. So it's really not that hard to compete with them as long as you stop trying to, right? And you focus in, and this is where it's interesting, because I truly believe that in an environment where technology is overtaking everything, we are deciding to lean in way more, going back old school. So we're leaning into old school, but using technology to make us more effective and more efficient with our time, so that, you know, we're not having to work the 12 to 14-hour days, and we're not missing things, right? Like everything is going to be spot on thanks to technology, and we'll be able to, in a sense, compete with anybody. But I think the real competition there is non-competition, meaning they're trying to fire people and not have back-end support. They're trying to not talk to clients. I'm saying start talking to clients more, start going old school more, and use that technology to assist you better.
Nice. Yeah, I like that approach too, because I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, you know, in our space too, you know, buyers, sellers, they appreciate that. You know, they're so used to getting the, you know, the kind of the new school, reaching out on social media, you know, maybe a couple calls here and there. But having that old school approach can definitely make a difference. So, you know, especially even the new people, kind of teaching them, you know, how things, you know, should go. And maybe those older people giving them kind of some reminiscent of, you know, maybe some deals they had done in the past. So that's awesome. That's awesome. And we'll just to tell the people a little bit about as well. How did you get started? Take us all the way back. How did you get your first foot in the door there?
Yeah, great question. So I was in the clothing business actually before I got into real estate, and I had 5 different clothing stores as a kid, really in my 20s, and I was driving all the time, every day, at least 2 hours on the road between all the shops and all the stuff I was doing. And then, but my business was tied to the Japanese economy quite a bit, because I was doing a lot of export to there as well.
Okay.
And the Japanese economy just died overnight. And even though I'm still a kid, once you get used to making money, it's really hard to not make it anymore. It's tough, right? So I decided, you know, I'm going to get out of this business now. So I closed a couple of my stores. I sold a couple of them and got out of the clothing business in general. And I had always had a passion for real estate and just loved real estate in general. So I had decided I was going to become a real estate agent. And kind of just last minute, and this is back in the day when, you know, you used to pick up your clients and drive them around everywhere. Last minute, I was like, man, I'm done driving. I'm tired of driving. I want to sit somewhere, right, and conduct business from a computer or a telephone back then, and not have to waste all my time out on the road. So long story short, literally last minute decision. I flopped, whatever you want to call it, and got into the mortgage business. And really kind of went straight in that way. But I always did my business different from the rest. It was very much a referral-based business. And, you know, and the truth is, right, real estate agents were the number one referral source ever of all the different referral sources that I had. So and this is, I guess, you know, kind of a lesson learned for everybody. If you want to get business from somebody, instead of going and telling them how good you are at what you do and what, you know, you can do, how about you go and you tell them how you can help them grow their business? So my whole thing was, you know, I'm here to help you grow your business, and these are the things I can do for you to help you grow, right? And that is kind of what started the transition, where people started giving me business and trusting me. Of course, I always say, you got to be great at your trade. You know, be good at what you do, right? Like, but no matter how good you are at it, if you can't get your phone to ring, you're never going to succeed.
Yeah, no, I can agree with you more there, right? And just so too a little bit, I've kind of noticed a theme, so to speak. You know, that we're finding kind of that niche, and, you know, where we need to go. We're kind of separating ourselves from, you know, the other people in our industry, other brokers in our industry. Is that been something you've kind of always prided yourself on? Is that something is that just how the brain always works? You know, always kind of looking for a different way to do things?
Always. So I'll give you an example. In an environment where a 30-day close of escrow is normal, as a lender, I told myself, I gotta stand out. I gotta close in 15 days. And in an environment, you know, and things are changing now, but back when it was standard to have a, you know, it was, let's call it a 21-day loan contingency and then 17-day, right? I was like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. In the old days, people would get dressed up on the weekends and go visit open houses, then be like, oh my gosh, honey, I love this place. And they go talk to the realtor there, they write an offer, and then you get your days to get your loan.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't even really go visit an open house unless you have a pre-approval letter, right? So, or it definitely not even be able to write an offer, at least without having a pre-approval letter. So I don't even understand why loan contingencies exist anymore. Because if you're writing an offer, you better know you can get a loan. Otherwise, you shouldn't even be making an offer. So to me, a good listing agent won't even accept offers that have loan contingencies. And a good buyer's agent will not go take people out and show them and you know, make the mistake of writing an offer unless they can go. Because the reality is, right, what good is an approval letter if you still have contingencies? Now,
it doesn't help out much.
It doesn't help out. I understand the appraisal contingency. I understand the home inspection for sure, right? But even an appraisal, a good lender should have a contingency backup that they've talked to their client saying, like, if the value doesn't come in, this is what our option is, right? And go through these strategies so you can actually be aware of all potential pitfalls before they happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and that being prepared is you know, huge, especially not only, I mean, in any field, but especially in real estate mortgage. You know, having kind of already knowing where, you know, we need to go for plan B or plan C, you know, whatever it may be. Having that already, you know, ready and equipped for us is definitely a huge, not only for making us feel comfortable, but for, you know, making the person on the other end feel comfortable as well. Like, hey, you know, a wrinkle comes up, I'm ready for it. You know, I've experienced this before. I have someone in the, you know, in the company that's experienced this before, and I can talk with them. That definitely gives a lot more security. Makes that person on the other end feel a lot better as well. So can attest to that there on, you know, personally and through business. Nice. And so if so far on the on real estate end, I know you said some kind of just rolling out, but on the mortgage side as well, do you guys do anything to market yourself, get the name out there, get the word out there about how you guys can you know, help grow other people's, or help grow other businesses, I should say?
Yeah, you know, I mean, over the years, right, I've tried several different things. Some have worked, some haven't. I'll tell you what the most successful thing was, and we call it our Always Present program. And what that is it's really gifting at its highest form. And I can't tell you how valuable it is for you to be always present in your client's life. And it's not that hard, right? I mean, you can hire other companies to do it and all that. We fulfill everything in-house because we're really like, we're big on the message that goes out with every gift. We're big on the presentation of every gift, and we co-brand with every one of the realtors. And you know, it's free to the realtor. And you know what the way we view that is, hey, you're the one that went out and found the client, right? So you're bringing them to us, you're trusting us with your paycheck, basically, right? And your clients. So we better do a good job on the mortgage side. But on top of that, what else of value are we bringing you? And I believe if I can tell you that I can close in 15 days and I can do it with no loan contingencies, I'm bringing you significant value already, because in an environment where there's multiple offers, you got to stand out a little bit.
Absolutely.
And it's not always the highest price wins. I mean, the highest price is not always the best offer, right? You gotta work together as a team. So for any of the realtors out there that are listening right now, that you don't have a lender that you work closely with, that you trust, right? You got to find one, because without a good lender that can close in 15 days with no loan contingencies, your per hour is nothing, right? You're going to be writing offer after offer after offer before you finally get one accepted, if you ever do. And believe it or not, you're doing your client disjustice, because if you don't get this offer accepted, by the time they find another house, it's probably going to be more expensive. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Or we might lose the one that they really wanted,
Yeah.
and might lose them altogether as
Yeah.
well.
So number one, we got to bring in value as a lender like that.
Yeah.
But number two is this always present program. So the majority of lenders and realtors, they will wait for the deal to close so they can make money on them. As soon as they make money on them, then okay, maybe kind of customary, you send them a gift. Some do, some don't, right? But it'd be nice if you did.
Yeah.
And I won't deny that's kind of how I started too, but I saw what the power of doing that really was. And then it turned into a little bit more. So one gift turned into another. And then I decided, well, I got to be a little bit more proactive on my timing, right? So I kept the funding gift. I added one more gift at the beginning, when as soon as they went into escrow or contract, right, depending on where you're at in the nation. So as soon as you went into contract, you got a gift, and our gift is 3 bottles of champagne with a couple glass flutes, with a co-branded letter that basically states that you picked the right team to take care of everything for you. So you sit back and relax. And in fact, we've pinpointed 3 opportunities for you to celebrate. The first one is right now because you just found your home. The second one is when the lender has fully approved you and you're signing loan documents. And the third one is when you're opening the door to your new home, right?
Yeah.
And it's not 1 bottle of champagne, it's 3. And it's not after funding, it's before. And I'll tell you, it's so interesting because this 1-2 punch turned into, I think we got like 16 different gifts in
Oh,
1
really?
year that a client gets. So now, as soon as we get the referral from the agent and we pre-approve somebody, the first gift goes out right away. Before they've even started looking, they've been approved. The approval letter goes out. They get their first gift. And I'll tell you guys what the importance of this is. If this brand new client goes through this process, gets pre-approved with us, we don't know for sure. They might be talking to another real estate agent as well. They might be talking to another lender. If they're talking to another real estate agent, you could bet they're probably being pushed into another lender. If they're talking to another lender, that other lender might be pushing them towards another realtor,
Yeah.
right? So we're at risk. At this stage, we're both at risk. And remember, we're partners now, right? I mean, you're entrusting us, we're entrusting you. We need to work together in partnership. So by us sending this gift out, the way I look at it is, I hope that my expertise level, when I do that initial consultation, they're done, they're sold. But what if they're talking to somebody else that's just as good as me, right? They might, if that's the case, now they have to make a decision. And if they don't like me, they might go with the other guy, which means that they might choose the other realtor as well.
Yeah.
So if all things were equal, right, which I know our initial consultation is almost like a masterpiece in itself, because we've perfected it, and there's no reason for anybody to go anywhere else after that. But if they had that, then when they get home the next day and there's a box on their porch with the first gift, I can guarantee we just won.
Yeah.
our
I
team won.
I mean, I can tell you from a perspective of, just kind of starting getting towards my first home. That would definitely, that would be the driving nail. I think that would, really make me make a decision. It's like, hey, they're obviously, they're obviously at my best interest in mind. They want, they want, obviously not just want the, the signing, the closing, but they, also want what's best for me, is how I would feel, personally, getting a gift from someone that I'm probably, just interacting with for, maybe the first or second time. But no, that's awesome. That's huge. And that's just like I said earlier, I noticed the theme right away. Another way you guys set yourself apart from, everyone else, not only probably locally, but, in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, another thing too is, if they write an offer and it doesn't get accepted, which, by the way, because of the process that I told you of everything we have with the contingencies and the shortened escrows and all that, we have even in this environment where it's pretty hard to get a loan or an offer accepted, we have a 92% success rate of getting our very first offer accepted with our clients. When a realtor writes it up the way we suggest, that with those short escrows and everything, 92% of the time we get that very first offer accepted. So here's what's important though. If the offer doesn't get accepted, we have another gift that goes out. And this is important because If they don't get that one, they might get discouraged. If they get discouraged, they might blame the realtor. They blame the realtor, they might go talk to another realtor, right? So we're here to support our partner, our realtor, and we're going to make sure we have a stronghold on this client together so that they don't go anywhere else. Right. So that's the gifting in the before stage. We have 3 gifts that go out in the during stage. And then the second it funds, they get the very first gift that next day. And then they get 4 other gifts throughout the following 12 months. So that's quite a few gifts. And then throughout the process, and this is something I would suggest to all of you guys, stalk them on social media. Like, find out what they're doing, right? If you see, a lot of times a young couple buys their first home, what else do they do? They go buy a dog. They buy a dog, send the dog a gift, right? Like we have a whole bin in the back full of dog gifts because that's a big deal. And before kids come along, people that have dogs, think of them as kids.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's usually a member of the family. Yeah,
absolutely. So the other step is having kids. And if you have kids, then figure that piece out, right? Like we're constantly flipping through social media and we see a gender reveal or, you know, the sonogram picture. Well, we mark it down. We go back and check every like 3 months or so to kind of find out where they're at. And as soon as we find out they had the baby and we know the name, we customize a baby blanket and a piggy bank, like a glass piggy bank with their name on it. And then we stick a $2 bill in there for good luck. And
oh man, that's awesome. That's something they'll probably keep all, you know, growing up all through their childhood too.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So guys, gets them in the mind early, gets imprinted in the mind early.
Yeah. And when you do that, and I got all sorts of data to prove it, you will be remembered. You will be top of mind when it's time, right? Like, don't get discouraged. It's not like everybody wants to go buy a house today. I mean,
yeah, they're not going to do it, you know, right away. They need some time to think, save up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you're buying a new bar of soap or something. It is what it is. It's gonna take a little while, but something to think through as well. If you're gonna be picking a farm, right? You oftentimes choose a farm that's just close to your house or you're familiar with it and you kind of just like it. But do some research on it. Find out how often houses turn in that neighborhood, because I when I finally did all this research, right, I was trying to help one of my younger agents one time, and they were trying to pick a farm, and we did the research on it, and it was like the average homeowner in this particular farm neighborhood keeps that house for 14 and a half years. So if you just do the data, the research, you'll find out that there's not a lot of opportunities to have turnover there.
Absolutely.
Right. But if we went to the town across the street or across the way and we picked a couple condo complexes that were kind of like that first time home buyer. Yeah. And I don't know where everybody's located, but we're in Orange County, California. So even that first time home buyer condo range at the time when I did this research, they were like 550,000. Now that same one's probably 850.
Yeah. Right.
But guys, it was overwhelming. The research showed that the average time held was 2.5 to 3 years. That's it. So if you look at the turnover in this particular condo complex, it was huge. There's an abundance of business to be had in this particular complex. It's that simple. Sometimes you just got to do some of the research.
Yeah. So you're not out there, you know, pounding the pavement in an area where, you know, we might get 1 or 2 deals over the next, 4 or 5 years. That is huge. And that's something that I don't think I've really ever heard any other brokerage owners on the podcast or anything mention. But yeah, when we're doing that farming, really making sure that we're honing into what we're farming. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And talk to your title reps. They typically have all that data for free. I mean, if you ask for it, they'll go hunt it down and get it for you. But, you know, my title rep, who was at Stewart Title, he pulled all that information for me. And then we had a meeting with the agent and went through everything. And then we had a couple options for him. You know, you can either sit here for years and see if you can make some money. And then we even went one step further. We took all of the transactions that occurred in the last 12 months in that neighborhood and asked him what percent, if you worked hard, what percentage of all of these transactions could you have? And, and of course their numbers a lot higher than they think. And then we backed up and said, so the most dominant agent here only did 5 transactions, because there was I think something like 12 or 13 in that whole neighborhood.
Oh,
So
really?
most dominant agent did 5. And then we worked out the commission and said, okay, if you can overtake this person who's been here for over 15 years dominating this neighborhood, this is how much money you would make if you took that person over. Is that okay with you? Like, is that number? And the answer was no, that's not enough. So then there was actually a really interesting thing that could happen too, because now the technology is there. There's predictive analytics of who is most likely to move. And instead of wasting your time marketing to everybody in this farm, you can go very specifically pinpoint the ones that are most likely to move, right? And just pinpoint them. You can door knock them. You can send them mailers. You can have an aggressive, campaign that goes out either every month or every 2 weeks, whatever you want. But the cost of pinpointing 10 homes as opposed to, 1,000 is significantly less, and you can do it more often.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. No, I can agree with you more. On the attraction side, or or I should say recruiting attraction side, do you do anything right now to attract more agents to you, more loan officers to you? Anything that you guys do in there?
Yeah. So earlier I talked about technology, and we are being super aggressive on the technology we're building. So everybody dreams of having the best assistant in the world, right? One that never forgets anything, one that reminds you of everything you have to do, one that can actually, reply to emails and send text messages out, right? And just be the most perfect person. They can read your mind. That's the perfect assistant. Well, we're creating that. Each one of our loan officers, and then when we launch the real estate company, each one of our real estate agents will have their own AI assistant. And that AI assistant will know all the details of your client, right? Now, there's some technology build that has to go on there. On the mortgage side, it's really easy because the loan application has all the details you could ever want on somebody, right? So we'll know how much debt they have. We'll know when their birthday is. We'll know where they work. We know how much they make. Literally every detail, right? Also in the CRM, when you say, I like the client likes the Lakers, the client loves Mexican food, the couple met on a random trip to Cabo for a bachelorette and bachelor party, and they happened to meet while they were out, right? Like, whatever the story is.
Yeah.
Your assistant will never forget that. So you'll know their wedding anniversary, and your new assistant, who doesn't cost you anything, right? I mean, there's no payroll involved because it's AI, will remind you every year to either, if they're super good clients, you could send them on a trip to Cabo for your anniversary, their anniversary, right? But you could at least call them or send them a little gift. We have these gifts that we send out. It's a beer glass that says king and a wine glass that says queen. And we send those out on anniversaries, right? But you could say something like, we've named our AI assistant Lindsay after my wife. Yeah, she's a little bit of a know-it-all, so she never forgets either.
That's a good one.
But let's just say, for example, Starbucks laid off a bunch of people, right? And it was in the news. You could say, hey, Lindsay, send me a list of all my clients or everybody in my database that works at Starbucks. And then you could put a phone call in and be like, Bob, I just heard the news. I wanted to see if you were affected or not, right? It's that simple. And as soon as, it's machine learning. So it's just she's going to get smarter and smarter as we go.
Yeah, as they go on.
In time, right, she will be able to just like pinpoint opportunities. She'll be data mining your database constantly, and she'll know when interest rates have dropped, and she'll be able to just extract it and say, you should call these people. There's an opportunity here, right? You could say, hey, Lindsay, draft me an email that has this kind of a tone to it. And, we are trying to persuade them to refinance, or you just found out they had another kid, right? And we're working on this currently, but basically Lindsay will be going through social media And if they got a dog, if they had a kid, through LinkedIn, if they got a job promotion, if they moved out of state, all of these different life events that could be happening, eventually we're going to know about all of them in real time as they happen. And that kind of information is powerful if you use it. Now, I can guarantee you somebody from Zillow or Redfin, right, on the real estate side, or Loan Depot or Rocket, is not going to care that you got married or bought a dog. But if you and I cared and actually made a phone call or sent them a gift or something, that will go a long way. Absolutely. And if you want repeat business, you should do that. If you want referrals, you should do that. And I can absolutely tell you without a doubt that when we started our Always Present program, our referral rate skyrocketed, just skyrocketed. Why? Because we were present.
I believe it. No, I absolutely believe it. No, that is, and like I know I mentioned before a few times now. Yeah, finding that kind of how to separate ourselves from the competition. And it looks like you've made an even bigger gap between those guys. I mean, I can speak personally from using kind of the more like big box, if you want to say, lenders there. Yeah, you're not going to see anything, type gifts, even the Starbucks one. I can imagine that'd be huge. For some people, like, oh man, my parents haven't even called her. My brother hasn't even called me yet, and you guys already called me asking me how I'm doing. Like, oh man, like, so I could see that going a long way with prospective clients and prospective them helping us get referrals as well. Yeah, I can definitely see how that helps separate us apart from the competition there.
Well, I'll tell you this, because you just mentioned something that reminded me. So we had a client whose dog died, and we sent her a rock with some scripture on it, right? And she called crying, and she said that nobody in her family even called her, and they knew how important these animals were to her, right? Yeah. And that's it, man. She's with us forever, but you got to care a little bit too. If that's not in your DNA, then maybe you're not even in the right industry, Yeah,
you definitely have to have a little bit of empathy. Yeah, if you're just stone cold all the time, I don't know. People might not, latch on to you as much as if you show a little empathy and show a little heart to the people.
That's right. So I gotta tell you, I've been leaving the best for last. So we got one more thing to differentiate.
Oh, nice.
And this is the one I'm most proud of. Now, it's not live on the real estate side yet because we're still trying to launch there. Gotcha. And we're trying to finish everything up on the mortgage side, but we're going to bring it to real estate as well. But on the mortgage side, I'll explain it there, and it'll work the same way. So the phrase, "you're only as good as your last deal." I mean, we've all heard that a million times over. And I've never bought into it because I've always been referral based, and I'm still doing loans for clients that I met 26 years ago. In fact, they're friends now, right? So I've never bought into it. But the truth is, I can't just sell my book of business and walk away. Maybe you can have some sort of a backdoor deal worked out. Maybe you can get some sort of a junior that's been working for you and helping you, and he's going to kind of take over, and you can get him to give you a little bit on every deal until the buyout kind of happens. But those usually don't work. And more importantly, there's nothing in place to be a gold standard. Yeah. However, a financial planner has assets under management, and every time they get a new client, they're not only making money, but they're building a book of business that's actually an asset that one day they can sell. An insurance agent, same thing. They don't make a ton actually on every deal, but it keeps adding up. And then one day those guys sell their book of business, and that's how they cash out and retire. So on the mortgage side too, you're just as good as your last deal, even if you get a bunch of referrals or anything, but not anymore. We're creating and trademarking the MUM, M-U-M, mortgages under management. And what we're doing there is saying that every time you fund a loan, your loan amount is going to roll up to this MUM, right? You fund a $700,000 loan, then you fund a 400. Now you're at 1.1, 2 units, 1.1. Every month it decreases a little because of amortization, right? But just keeps on adding up and adding up. And if you do business the ethos way, right, then it eventually will unlock a dollar figure that says your mom, your book of business is worth X. And if you ever want to sell it, or God forbid you get hit by a bus tomorrow, then your beneficiaries will have an asset that you left them, and they can sell this book of business. So if you're still alive and you want to retire, you would list your book of business with us. It'll first go up for sale to all the loan officers at Ethos Lending. And then as a company, we're going to provide all the data points, because we're going to have a ton of KPIs behind this, just a ton, and a dollar value. And then we're going to offer financing to help facilitate this buyout so that somebody can retire, right? Or again, you get hit by a bus. As a company, we're going to take that book of business. We're going to sell it and figure out how to do it so that we can give something to your family. And I am so proud of this, because it doesn't exist anywhere. I hope it will become the new gold standard, so that we can get rid of, and I hate saying it this way, but get rid of loan officers and create mortgage advisors, people that don't just think the deal's over, I'm out, let's move on to the next, because that's not creating a business. That's just kind of having a job. I'm talking about creating a career and a business that'll last for years to come. And if you treat your clients the way we've talked about over the last half hour, and you run your business in the manner that's fitting of a real business, right? Not just a part-time gig, then you should one day be able to sell that. So, I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to bring it to the real estate side yet, because we're so entrenched on this, but really it's the same principles. And I believe that we could do that. I'll just give you one little piece though, right? Like, let's just say the Dino team, right? Every realtor and every loan officer is so self-centered about their name. Like, it's their name. It's me, right? Everything is me. So if you create a team one day and it's the Dino team, right? Like me, then if I ever want to sell my book, who in the heck's going to want to buy the Dino team if there's no Dino there? Right? So
absolutely.
That's not a real business that you're doing. So we're going to be kind of changing the way that we expect business to be done, from what the standard is, right? And forget even like a 5-star experience. No, it's like, just being in the business, you should be giving a 5-star experience. Like, how do we give a 10-star experience? How do we make it where, first of all, it can run without you? Because that's an important, feature there in any business. And then how do we make it where there's no question when your client wants to buy another house or refinance or refer somebody, they are going to give it to you, right? There's no question. In their eyes, they're going to give it to you. And when you've achieved all that, you have a full functioning business that in my eyes is worth something. So that's what we're creating.
I love that. Yeah. And I mean, loyalty to, our lender, to our agent, things that, some people, their whole family will use, the same lender, the same agent. So yeah, having that's awesome that you're going to give them an opportunity to, kind of show their worth in a sense, like, hey, everything that I did over the past, 10, 20 years, like I have it all right here for you. That's really awesome. And I'm sure that gives a lot of the lenders out there, kind of some hope. Maybe, they've had some trouble saving for, a life insurance policy, saving for retirement, things like that. That gives them, some hope that, like, hey, I still, I might not have a ton in the bank, but I have, I have a big book. I got a lot to sell off when I'm ready. So that's awesome. That's really, and just another way you guys are setting yourselves apart. So that's wonderful. That's wonderful. The future vision and growth, where I guess you should say we're in the next like 2 to 3 years. Where do you see yourself headed on the real estate side, on the mortgage side, all things, including yourself personally as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, before I answer that too, let me throw in one other thing for all the real estate agents listening right now. The market has changed significantly, and a buyer's agent, for example, has got new complexities, and you got to figure out how to work around that. And you can, if you know what you're doing. But we're developing a model where if a realtor is willing to get licensed and do just some nominal amount of effort in the loan side of it, we're suggesting that you go get your lender's license as well, and we can help you with that. And then you start referring business over, and you do both. Now, I've never been a proponent of a realtor also doing loans, but the fact of the matter is we've developed such a great back end support system that we can actually just take it over for you. And instead of, I mean, it's illegal to give you a referral fee, so you just got to be the loan officer, the mortgage advisor, right? And we'll help you through that whole process. And really, it's not going to be that much work, because I'll be honest with you, I don't do much on my own loans anymore either, right? Somebody else does it all for me. So it's really going to be the same model that I have for my personal book, and I don't even talk to clients anymore. We're just going to duplicate that for them, and they'll get that high-end service, only they can make another 1% to 2% on the deal instead. And overall, as far as the vision goes, so we have a lofty goal on the mortgage side, because we're changing the way the industry is. Like, we're changing it completely, right? So there's still a lot of work that has to be done there, but we're bringing in the real estate side. And while we're working on this technology, we keep that in mind, because a lot of it's going to be shared.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about mortgage and real estate. They really do go hand in hand.
They go hand in hand. And then not only that, but the way we kind of see it now is through all that, as a lender, I have referred out so much business to various trades, right? Personal loans. I'll give you an example. Personal loans. Oftentimes somebody's got let's just call it a $10,000 credit card that's maxed out. Because it's maxed out, their credit score is under 700. Their payment's about $500 a month, and they qualify for X. But if you refinance that credit card and put it into a personal loan, still $10,000.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, your payment drops from 5 to probably like 350. So already your debt ratio is lower, which means you qualify for more home. But on top of that, that shift, that transfer from revolving debt on credit card to installment debt on a personal loan, it's amazing how the credit bureaus gauge that, because it's the same amount of debt, but your credit score will go up by probably 50, 60 points because it shifted. So just like that, now you're over 700. So you qualify for a better interest rate. You qualify for cheaper PMI, and your payment's lower. Guess what? You qualified for a lot more home. Well, somebody else has made that money the whole time. So one of our new companies that we're going to be doing as well is a personal loan company. And we're looking at both the realtors and the lenders investing in these and we got a revenue share model basically, right? And they're going to make money off of it too as business owners. And then we're going to have the Ethos Capital Fund, which is a hard money company. And there's often times where we can't get somebody a loan because they don't show that they make enough money. Well, now we'll have the hard money company. And we're going to encourage loan officers and realtors to invest their money in here. And the beauty of it is it's a monthly return. And if you're making money, don't take it. Just roll it back in. It's another retirement vehicle for you.
Yeah.
And then finally, the insurance company. Man, have I made some insurance guys a lot of money over the years, right? And so, we're going to be opening our own insurance company as well. And our encouragement is going to be loan officer, realtor. If you don't do enough business on your own, partner with a couple of the guys, right? With a couple of the people, you open up your own branch. We're going to manage it as corporate on the back end, but it's your book of business. And the beauty of it is it's not just another revenue source, but you're building another asset that one day you can retire with, right? One day. So here's how it works, right? Whether it's real estate or mortgage, right? You got your source of income from your personal business.
Yeah.
You got your insurance, you got your hard money, you got your personal loan. And then you got your asset that you're building on the mortgage and real estate side, on your mom, as we call it on the mortgage side, and you're building your insurance asset, right? So that's where I see the vision of our future going. And we're not saying we're going to do all this as a company. We're going to do it all together. I want you guys to come in here and partner with us. I want you guys to be business owners, right? We'll manage it. We'll put it together, but stop just being a one-off lender or a one-off realtor. Start being, in the real game where you can make some money. And then to top it all off, our revenue share model is really exciting, because if you can recruit somebody and bring somebody in, whether it's a realtor or lender, we're going to pay you a commission on that revenue share. And it's going to work similar to like an EXP, where there's a whole revenue share. And then the cool part is there's a whole next now revenue source for you. And at the same time, if you can build a downline of people, right?
Yeah.
Of people that recruited, and they recruit people and they recruit people over the years. Well, now you got another fixed asset that you could also sell. I don't know if you'd ever want to, if that thing continually gives you money, every month, but you could. So this is what our vision is of the future. And in light of where technology is going, in light of how many of these smaller companies that aren't able to withstand the heat from the bigger ones, we're saying, hey, come join us, right? Whether you're a one-man shop or a 10-man shop or even 20, come join us. Let us do all the back end stuff, run your business without having to worry about all the junk of running a business. Just focus on the sales side of it and growing and recruiting. And then we'll introduce all of these other verticals for you, and you can have some consistent income. Because when rates go up, sales go down, right? So your revenue might drop a little bit in one, but your insurance is still rocking. Your hard money is even doing better. Your personal loans are doing better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so many options there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love that approach. And I can say I've done at least over 30 podcasts here, and been speaking to brokerage owners, loan mortgage owners as well. So the improper verbiage. But I haven't, and yeah, never in the year and a half that I've been in this industry, heard anyone doing it quite like how you are. With all, not only giving them the ancillaries, but giving them those options to get the most juice for the squeeze, with each deal that they make. That can be huge for, not only keeping, obviously keeping ourselves happy, continuing to grow as a company, but keeping those agents around and keeping them happy. No matter kind of what field they first step into, but getting them involved in the other ones, gives them a better understanding. They're going to be a lot, better on the, if they're a realtor, they're going to be a lot better on their open houses, knowing that, hey, I already have already have everything ready to go on the back. I just need someone that wants to, put the check down. Yeah, that's huge for them. And then knowing that, where you can even, make a little extra money, getting them to go through, our lender and what have you there. That's awesome. That's awesome. I think the last thing I have for you is kind of an interesting question. If you were going to start over today, so going back like, 20 years or so, if we're going to start over, what would you, or I should say to someone that's just getting started in the market now, being that, such a different market, what would you tell them? What would be kind of your first advice as far as, them getting started? And in the hopes of them owning their own brokerage, or maybe just being, just getting started in the real estate industry as a whole.
So I got to tell you, I'm launching a podcast on January 15th, and I ask everybody kind of the same question.
Oh, really? That's awesome. That's awesome.
I think it's a great question. Yeah, I think it's a great question because number one, we have the experience now, but number two, things are also a little bit different, right? So it might be a little different than what it was 26 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you though, that even though it's different, it's not harder, it's easier because there's so many more tools that are available. Absolutely. And I think the couple things, the one thing I've always said is if I could go back and do one thing differently, it would be to keep a really good CRM. And I mean really good, right? Like I see realtors right now and everything is on their cell phone, and all it is like, Bob Church or Bob Jim or Bob, and they don't even that's all they have. And maybe and then the phone number, right? And then they sometimes will try and introduce me and I'm like, all right, what's his email address? What's his story? And I'm like, I don't know. And it's like, well, you don't have anything, right? Like, get to know the person and document it all, put it together, because that information I had in my early years, I remembered everything. Their phone numbers. I never had to look up a phone number. I just dialed.
Oh, that's
and
good. That's good.
It was incredible. But then I got so busy that it was almost like my glass was full and the pitcher was endless. It just kept pouring on top and I couldn't drink it fast enough. And the second that happened, I just couldn't remember anything anymore. I started forgetting everything. So all those things I thought I would remember forever are now gone.
Yeah.
And that's why I say document everything, right? Like, and get to know them, ask the questions, and become an active listener. Become a better listener than a talker, and you'll find all sorts of magic that'll happen with it. And if you aren't naturally a loving person, become one. Learn how to become one, because it'll get you a lot further in this business, but also you'll see the rewards just internally be so much better.
Absolutely.
You will be a better person if you can start loving on other people, and you'll see the love come back to you. But first and foremost, man, keep good documentation on everybody. Write everything down, get to know everybody, listen with all of your might. Like, put everything into listening, and then the other thing is get active in different groups. You can't just like be so comfortable in one area of your life only and you stay there.
Absolutely.
Go to clubs, right? Different club meetings, go to different networking events, go to church, go to the gym, go to sporting events, get involved with as many different groups as you can. Now, later in life, when you start being a little more successful, if you're brand new, that is, you can start knocking out some of the ones that aren't working, and you might find that you only have to stick to one or two, but you have a wide, array of options and of people that are now referring you business. So I've always said, and it's the network, we call it the network effect. Go out and network with as many different people that have the ability to give you business back, and do your best to get them business. And if you can get them business just through the simple theory of reciprocity, they will give you business back.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I can't agree with you more. That goes in, not just in real estate mortgage, that goes in every industry. That was one of my previous jobs when I was younger, was working at a repair shop. And that's what those sales reps come in, they come and bring us some donuts, those guys come in, they might bring us, even like birthday presents, things like that as well. But that, goes back into, when we're looking for those parts and it might be an extra $5 to get it from them. It's like, oh, well, you know what, those guys have taken care of me. Like, I'll give them the extra $5 versus, going back to the guy that maybe we see once every 3 months and we're like, oh, they don't really take care of us. Nothing ever really gets done if things go wrong, there's never really anyone here to, fix it. That cost difference, and like kind of like you mentioned earlier, like they might be a little cheaper, but they're not going to take care of you nearly as well as I am. So that goes a long way in every industry. If anyone's watching it, that's, maybe not even in real estate or mortgage, that's just a good way to do business, no matter where we're at. But also, this has been a really, even for myself, this has been very informative. I really appreciate you spending the time coming out here and talking to me here for a little while. Let the people know where can they find you at? Where, like, social medias, websites, where can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So Dino Katsiametis, hopefully you'll have it listed.
Oh yeah, we'll have everything you mentioned. We'll link down below for them in the comments there, so they can make it nice and easy.
Awesome. So on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, it's just my full name, Dino Katsiametis. Website is Join Ethos, ethoslending.com, but we also have the Join Ethos or join.ethoslending.com. And just Google Dino or Ethos Lending or a combination of that. You'll find me, and my email address is dino@ethoslending.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hey guys, you heard it here. Dino, especially if you're anywhere in that California area and would like to, I'm sure you'd be open to meeting you in person, something like that. But also sounds like you work across pretty much everywhere in the United States, correct? Or any states?
So we were forever. We were a boutique shop only in California, and we decided to go nationwide this past year in 2024. So we're now approved in 9 states, and we got about another, I think, 12 that will be in within the next 3 months. So for all lenders out there, if you guys want a new, fresh approach to doing business with a top-notch company, please look us up. We would love. We're now hiring. We've just started launching all this stuff that I talked about, so we're now hiring, and we're excited about opening up all the new states. And also for any realtors out there that want to learn how to do loans, or are willing to go get licensed and make a little extra money, we're willing to help you and push you to the finish line there. So we'd love to have you.
Nice. I know money is a very motivating factor, guys. So I know, I mean, that's something very, very unique. Something that I know in all my time in the real estate industry, mortgage side. I haven't heard anyone doing it quite like Dino is. So make sure you guys go check him out. We'll have everything listed down below there. And Dino, thank you again for giving us some of your time today. It's been wonderful, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you so much, and good luck with everything.